You appreciate them for the opportunity it provides you not to join them in their point of view through reaction or empathy, and to stay with the truth because, as I said last week, that is what constitutes your sanity. Not because that's what will heal them, but because that's what constitutes your sanity. And so, one appropriate response might be, you know what? I really appreciate the opportunity you're providing me by means of your bad behavior, your obtuse behavior, your attacking behavior, to be able to clearly say to you, your suffering is not because I'm not appreciating you as you are. Your suffering is not because you're not loved by me, which is a favorite refrain also. I appreciate you because you're giving me the opportunity to point out to you that you and you alone are responsible for the experience you're having by virtue of the choices you are making. And I can tell you that if you will make different choices, you will have a different experience. Oh, but I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not out of line. I'm not... you just have this poor concept of me. No. You are unemployed, aren't you? You seem at the present time to be unable to secure and keep unemployment because of habits and behaviors that you're choosing to practice and indulge in that make you unable to work together with others. You are not being able to support yourself. You are not being able to function constructively in your own life or with others. There is a reason for this, and I will tell you, because I know the truth about you, I will tell you that not to have these things is not your birthright. But you're going to have to be willing to look at the fact that what you're doing doesn't work, isn't constructive, and is increasing your despair. But this is work you have to do. That's the way you appreciate in action the opportunity provided to you by the one calling for help. It doesn't sound like nearly as much fun or joy as the soft, cotton candy, vague atmosphere of loving thoughts and kindliness and affection that you would rather embrace them with. But you know what? At the bottom line, because you each have integrity, bottom line, actual, capital I integrity, all the time you're into this cotton candy, nebulous, formless embrace of loving thoughts is insincere, because you have feelings that you can't get rid of entirely. And there is an indignance in you when you see a brother suffering. There is a knowing that it is not right. It is not truth. And you're overriding it in favor of some spiritual practice of nebulousness, loving nebulousness. You are being deceitful. You are moving into la-la land. You are not being grounded. Now, you know what? Truth is not licentious. Truth is truth. Truth, for lack of better words, is white. In the sense that with truth everything is black or white. Except that being truth, it's all white and there is no black. Truth does not allow for untruth. There is that which works and there is that which doesn't work. And which one works and which one doesn't work is not a matter of opinion. That which doesn't work never works, never will work. And as long as someone engages in what doesn't work, their life is going to be a void. And it is going to be an experience of stress and misery because they are attempting to do the impossible. When you are being honest, you know this. And you experience the freedom of being free of the susceptibility to the idea that what can't work might work. And in the absence of that susceptibility, you feel your strength, which simply means you feel integrated, cohesive, solid, immovable. Well, why don't you just appreciate me? I'm on my way home just like you are. And how dare you tell me that where I am on my path home is wrong? Truth is not licentious. Black is black and white is white. Do you realize that being on your way home can be a lifetime's career, like being a professional college student who just never finishes the learning process and thereby just never gets out into the living of life and the practicing of what's been learned? Be careful that you are not making a career of waking up, a career of progressing spiritually in your study of the Course. And I'll tell you something. The more you force yourself to force the Course to be relevant and practical, the shorter your trip home will be, because it will put you in the position of self-honesty. And it will help you abandon the bullshitting. And your abandoning the bullshitting will help others abandon it too. Now, this is something we've talked about before, but it needs to be reiterated because we are talking about the fact that the awakening process involves your breaking your isolation from the Father, but also from your brother. And so you seem to unavoidably have to relate to your brother, this brother who is either expressing love or call for love. Those who are making a call for love make the call for love from two fundamental positions. One fundamental position is where they are suffering and they feel they're suffering and they do not want to suffer. And they're willing to abandon whatever it might be, whatever ignorance or confusion might be present that is supporting their suffering. These individuals, as a general rule, are not engaged in relating to others at the expense of the others they're relating to. The other fundamental requester for help is one who is engaging in sin. And again, what do I mean by the word sin? I mean that they are consciously engaged in relating to themselves or their brothers and sisters in a way that uses them at their expense, manipulates them, attempts to control them, and who will use whatever means they can, fear, threat, false promises. Sin is the expression of whatever tends to demoralize a brother or whatever tends to demoralize you. And the essential clincher of the definition of sin is that the one practicing it takes pleasure in engaging in this dynamic. Such pleasure that they become committed to it. And it becomes the self-image they wish to reinforce, the picture they wish to present and substantiate in the world. In other words, they consciously take pleasure in and make commitment to doing that which disturbs or takes advantage of a brother at the brother's expense. Now, the first one is susceptible to healing. The first one will be able to hear the response of love, the response of intelligence that is provided to the call for love, the call for help, the call for healing. But the second one is not susceptible. And you must learn to distinguish the difference. Because if you're in a Pollyanna cotton candy spirituality that is just going to shower whoever comes to you, no matter what they do to you or how they behave, with appreciation, you're going to be mowed down, because your naivety is not going to prepare you for lack of better words, the meanness of the mental state that is making the apparent call for help. You must learn to distinguish the difference so that you will come back to that request for help, that call for help, with the truth that I expressed earlier. What you are asking for, the help you are asking for, the request to get relief without changing your behavior is a request that cannot be fulfilled by anyone, not even God. And therefore, what you are inviting is to get me involved in an entanglement, a tug of war, and I'm not available for that because I know better. And you know what? I'm telling you that you know better. So, as long as you know better, stay away from me. And don't invite me into something that we both know I'm not going to play into. And you sit in your suffering, unless you can find another patsy, until you're tired of it and are willing to be accountable to yourself and look at the changes that need to be made, accept the changes that need to be made, and make them. And when you are ready to make the change, I'll be glad to talk to you. The call for love has been responded to as though it were a call for intelligence. And you have not lost your integrity. You have not abandoned your integrity. And you have not abandoned the bottom line divinity of you. It's said that everybody lives lives of quiet desperation. And in a way, everyone does, making the best of it. But you wouldn't be living lives of quiet desperation if you dared to be honest with yourselves, deeply connected with the truth that you know, and lived and expressed yourself from there. And that's what this chapter that we're in has been talking about. It's been talking about nothing else but arriving at a place of being honest within yourself by not relying upon the picture you have of yourself, the concept you have of yourself, or the concepts others have of you. Not trying to live up to them. But abandoning that struggle to be something other than what you are and giving up into what you are. Giving up into what you are is another way of saying turning to the Holy Spirit. You know, when you finally hit the bottom of the barrel and you actually give up, and the giving up is not another ploy, it's actual. Everything becomes utterly clear. You know what you can do and you know what you can't do. And you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel bad about what you can't do. And suddenly you're free to do what you can do. And because at that point you're in harmony with the bottom line of your capital B being, your life turns around. We're talking about becoming real. And the only answer there is for anyone else calling for help is to become real. And when one becomes real, when many become real, there aren't a bunch of different realities. There are not different real messes. There's perfect harmony. There's perfect fitting together. Because the integrity of each one of you is the integrity of God. And then what happens? Well, you don't disappear. You don't get blended into some wholeness. But this genuine one that you are, this honest one that you are, who no longer has the energy to pretend to be anything else, finds himself or herself to be not in the movement of creation, but the movement of creation itself, surfacing, if I may, bursting forth as you. And you have a gift to make that doesn't impinge upon anyone else, that doesn't depend upon anyone else's appreciation or acknowledgement, although it will be there. And your wholeness, the relief of the experience of your wholeness, consumes you, fills you full and overflowing so that there is nothing else there. But what I'm trying to say to you is that experience, rather than being some lifted up, lofty place, is something you find at what you currently call the bottom of your barrel, the place where you are forced by your innate intelligence to give up what is causing you suffering because you're too tired. You do not have the willingness or the energy to pursue what was causing your suffering any longer. The bottom line of you, the place of excellence in you, the Holy Spirit, is what is left at the bottom of the barrel when all of the concepts you have laid upon yourself and all the concepts everyone else has laid upon you no longer tempt you to respond to them or to live up to them. It's the you are right now at your most base, if I may put it that way, at your most fundamental, at this place in you of utter honesty, where there is no deceit any longer. Now, do you see how conscious you have to be? Do you see how unnebulous you need to be? Do you see how insane it is to become spiritually nebulous? Oh, they just need more love. Love them more. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? No, I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that because that's not going to help. I'm not going to give them more hugs. They want to be loved as they are. If I give them a hug, they will think I am accepting them as they are. Accepting them not as they truly are, but as they perceive themselves to be. Loving them as the collection of habits that they're engaged in. And saying, dear, you're all right. I love you with all of your bad habits. I love you even though you are trying to embezzle money from me. I love you even though you're stealing from me right under my nose. I love you even though every chance you get you take advantage of me. I love you even though you get angry at me at the drop of a hat. I love you even though you say you do not want to hear any of the good I have to share with you. You see? I love you as you are, is what they want to hear, which means I am loved as I am, and therefore there is no call for change. And so you have confirmed their illusion to them, and you cannot call that love. You might be able to call it sweetness. But it is not love, because it does not call forth in them that which would uncover to them their freedom from suffering. The provision of love that is not the provision of intelligence as well is an expression of hate. Is an expression of hate. Because when a brother is suffering, and you do that which substantiates their suffering, what are you doing? You are engaging in consciously hurting them. And if you think that you can express love without intelligence, then you're joining on the side of destruction. You're joining on the side of unintelligence. Now we could go on and on. Oh. But I don't want to make waves.